Just a quick video showing how I apply the paper tape on an inside corner. For this, you're going to want some all-purpose drywall mud. Make sure to stir it up good with a good mixer and a drill. You want a drywall hawk and the drywall knife. So what I like to do is just fill up that edge of the 90. Put your knife on the side. It just speeds up the application time. Don't want a ton of mud, but make sure that it's all covered, because if you miss a spot, the tape's not going to adhere, it's going to bubble. Which isn't the biggest deal in the world, but it will just be something that you have to fix. Then I just roughly stretch out the tape, how much I need. Just rip off a little bit extra. Can easily tear it. There's a seam in the middle. It only bends one way. So if you're trying to bend it the other way, it's giving you some grief, it's not the right direction. So you just want to find that which way it bends. Give it a nice fold. And start the tape up at the top. Getting it as tight to the top as you can. And then just ripping off a little bit of the bottom. So that looks pretty rough. Take your drywall hawk again, your knife, just start to smooth that out. You're not putting a ton of pressure, and you're not trying to get all of the mud cleared out. You just want to get the excess. I just do a couple passes over it. And if there is any spots that didn't have quite enough mud, you just put it behind the tape. If you haven't done a lot of this, it'll take some practice, but you'll get a feel for it when you know it's right. You want to make sure that your mud isn't dry. You definitely want to add just a bit of mud or a bit of water to the mud when you're mixing it. That moisture is what's going to help that tape set, dry, tight, and real adhered to the drywall. If it's dry mud and there's not enough moisture, that can be another issue with getting your tape to stick properly and for a long time. You don't want to have to be fixing this. So yeah, like I said, just do a couple passes over. Just make sure it's nice and clean for when you put on your first coat of your compound over top of the tape. You can see it's pretty dark. Once that's dry, it's going to be really light, very white, which indicates that it's dry. I'd give it enough time. It'll depend on obviously the environment that you're working in. If there's more humidity in there, it's going to take longer. If it's drier, it'll dry quicker. Throw a fan on it. That'll also help it out. I like to put 2 good coats on those corners over top of this tape before I do a light sanding, and then after that, ready to paint. So that's how I apply the tape in an inside corner. Alright, I'm just going to show you quick how I apply the last coat. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do the one side first. my 6-inch drywall knife. And then after this is dry, then I'll come over and do my last swipe on the other side. Then it'll be ready for sanding. So this, I have the tape in with 2 coats over top. And this is just a very thin 3rd coat that will finish it off. Now, you might have other ways of doing this. I always find I get a straight line when I sand after I apply the mud like this. One side, then the other side. You might use a different method, but this is what I find works real good for me. This is just an all-purpose. It's watered down and really mixed up. Just a little bit of water added. I find that it just helps smooth things out. So I'm not putting on a lot. And then after, I'm just going to smooth this out. I just put some pressure just to take care of this hard edge here. And then you might have a little bit that gets on the other side. If it's real heavy, I'll just take my knife. I'm also going to just take my sanding block and just run it down the other side after this is dry. And you're going to know that this is dry when it turns white. Right now it's a little darker. When it's white and you run your block, sanding block down this side, if you don't get any white stuff on the block, then you'll know it's dry. Just a quick tip, when you're going to do your sanding, I like to use these angled sponges. So you don't want very much grit, so that usually there's a fine and a medium side. Using these angled ones though, this edge won't touch this other side of the corner. If you use one of these just block sanders, they're good for other areas, but for in a corner, if you use it, then there's a chance that this corner of the sponge will just faintly leave a line on this side of the corner running up your wall. Now you might not notice it at first, but once you prime and paint after, that's when you tend to see that line. So to avoid that, you just want to use these angled sponges. They work real good. You just want to run it softly down the corner, and then you can even use one of these other block sanders when you're sanding away from the corner. But just for right in the corner, that angled sponge is going to make a world of difference.